I think starting a rocket company is an unusual thing to do and pretty risky. But I'm a big believer in us becoming a space-sparing civilization and ultimately extending life beyond Earth.
There are those who are watching who would think, if I made that money, I'd sit on a beach, I'd drink beer, and I would just watch the sunset. Have you ever thought about that as a career option?
I find that really pretty boring. So that would be torture. If I had to do that every day, that would really be pretty awful for me. I really need to be preoccupied with something. If I'm just sort of sitting there relaxing, I can only do that for a very short period of time, and then it becomes unbearable.
Are you motivated beyond just profit motive and racking up dollars? And
no, I'm a volunteer. I mean, I don't need the money. There's nothing. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, I wish I could buy such and such a thing. I could buy it. I get paid minimum wage, actually. I don't even get overtime.
How do you describe yourself?
I usually describe myself as an engineer. That's basically what I've been doing since I was a kid. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future in wondrous new technology, where you see it and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How's that possible?
I certainly never expected to see the level of success that's occurred, because I'm actually an engineer, but I discovered that in order to do the engineering that I want to do, I have to have my own company, otherwise somebody makes me do something I don't want to do.
The odds of me coming into the rocket business, not knowing anything about rockets, not having ever built anything, I would have to be insane if I thought the odds were in my favor.
Why even begin?
When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor.
How much of your personal fortune have you poured into this?
$100 million.
$100 million into something that you did not believe would work at the beginning.
Yes.
How did you figure you were going to start a car company and be successful at it?
Well, I didn't really think Tesla would be successful. I thought we would most likely fail.
But you say you didn't expect the company to be successful, then why try?
If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure.
Well, it's like the Nike slogan, just do it. Just showing up is half the battle. You got to try hard to do it, and don't be afraid of failure. As Edison said, it's 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. You've got to not be afraid to innovate, but also don't delude yourself into thinking something's working when it's not, or you're going to get fixated on a bad solution. Yeah, and I think also just don't be afraid of new arenas. You can get a book, you can learn something, and experiment with your hands, and just make it happen. Find a way or make a way to get something done. Persistence is extremely important. You should not give up unless you're forced to give up. There's no other choice. If you're convinced that what you're doing is correct, then you should never give up. There's a friend of mine who's got a good saying about starting companies, which I think is true. Starting companies is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. If that sounds appealing, be an entrepreneur.
What is it about you that seems to invite skepticism?
Well, I think it's because we're doing these things that seem unlikely to succeed. And we've been fortunate, and at least thus far they have succeeded.
In 2008, the rocket company is not going well. You've had 3 failures.
Great.
The car company is hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
And the American economy has tanked in the worst recession since the Great Depression.
Right.
What was that year like for you?
And I'm getting divorced, by the way, to add to that. That was definitely the worst year of my life. When we'd call people and say, hey, would you like to invest? They'd be angry that we just called. It's like, no, it's not only no, and various expletives. I remember waking up the Sunday before Christmas in 2008 and thinking to myself, man, I never thought I was someone who could ever be capable of a nervous breakdown. But I felt this was the closest I've ever come. Because it seemed pretty dark. NASA called and told us that we'd won a $1.5 billion contract. And I couldn't even hold the phone. It's like, I just blurted out, I love you guys.
They saved you.
Yeah, they did.
Financially and maybe even emotionally.
I'll tell you what, that was definitely helpful. I'd love to have SpaceX be the company that brings humanity to Mars, and I hope I see it while I'm still alive.
I think we're at the dawn of a new era, and I think it's going to be very exciting. What we're hoping to do with SpaceX is to push the envelope and provide a reason for people to be excited and inspired to be human.
You just wanted to get people interested in space again?
Yes, yeah.
Capture the imagination.
Yes, that was the idea.
Musk decided that the only way to get an affordable rocket was to build it himself, and he started SpaceX.
I went to Russia to look at buying a refurbished ICBM, which is a very trippy experience. It was very bizarre. And when I tell people that, they're like, what?
Musk truly believes that low-cost space exploration is essential to the survival of mankind.
I think it's important that humanity become a multi-planet species. I think most people would agree that a future where we're a spacefaring civilization is inspiring and exciting compared with one where we are forever confined to Earth until some eventual extinction event. That's really why I started SpaceX.
Right now we're just trying to make as much progress as we can with the resources that we have available and just sort of keep moving the ball forward and hopefully I think as we show that this is possible, that this dream is real, not just a dream, it's something that can be made real, I think the support will snowball over time. And I should say also the main reason I'm personally accumulating assets is in order to fund this. So I really don't have any other motivation for personally accumulating assets except to be able to make the biggest contribution I can to making life multiplanetary.